Well, folks, welcome to the Whitfield Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting live from NGC 1 here in South Florida. I want to thank you so very much for joining me tonight, and what a glorious night it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Contact info as usual. You can follow me on Twitter at SamW_NGC. You can follow me on Instagram also at SamW_NGC. Follow me on Gab at Sam Whitfield. TheSamWhitfield.com is my website. Facebook.com/Whitfield Report. And as always, if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, please leave us a nice rating and a review on iTunes and Apple Podcasts, and help the podcast grow. Folks, I want to thank you for joining me on the program tonight, and man, oh man, folks, it is victory time here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have scored a massive victory today. Justice Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed to the Supreme Court earlier today. There was a vote, and he's been confirmed officially as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. So, in honor of him, I want to go back and play for you a pivotal moment of at least for me it was pivotal. This was the point at which I really just fell in love in a manly way with Kavanaugh. So let me find the clip here. You'll know what this is. Trust me. And let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you watching on stream, and for those of you watching at home, I hope you brought something to drink with you here tonight. It is imperative that you do, because we're celebrating here on the show. Wait, no, that's not. That's not it. Hang on, this is a lot. This is exactly why I need a producer. Yeah. Drum roll. Okay, maybe it's Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, the clip isn't showing up, unfortunately, but nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, Kavanaugh has made it to the Supreme Court. The justice who likes beer. So, in honor of his confirmation, I'm going to do something I rarely do on air. And for those of you who are listening to the audio podcast, I'm cracking a nice cold Miller High Life. No, it's not my favorite beer, but that's all we have in the house right now. So, and this isn't a paid endorsement either. I just, like Kavanaugh himself has always said, I've always drank beer, I love beer, and I will continue to drink beer. So, from all of us here at the Whitfield Report, and in the Danger Zone, I just want to say, cheers to you, Justice Kavanaugh. And cheers to Lindsey Graham and to even Jeff Flake who I was surprised voted for Kavanaugh's confirmation. But you know what? Let's hear for due process actually, coming through and whatnot. So, I am just stoked, ladies and gentlemen. I honestly don't think I've been this elated, honestly, since Trump's election. The moment I realized that Trump was going to be president, I don't think I've been this elated since that moment. That's how excited I was for Kavanaugh to get confirmed. And I wanted to crack a beer earlier today. I decided to save this for you, savages, because this is how much you guys mean to me. I do want to play a few other clips. So this was pretty much my reaction upon hearing that Kavanaugh got confirmed. And I think this was the reaction of basically all my fellow, people in the danger zone, I know for sure, and conservatives across the country. This was my reaction. Yep. Our boy is on the Supreme Court officially, ladies and gentlemen. And I just love it. I absolutely love it. Let me just play that again. That was every conservative on Twitter today, ladies and gentlemen. That was every conservative on Twitter and on Instagram and social media. We've won the battle. It was glorious. Meanwhile, this was the reaction of every lib out there. Not really surprising. And, I don't play this clip all the time, but I'm glad I have it saved because, this one never gets old. Never. Let's see. Here it is. Alright, yeah, this was universally the left's response to Kavanaugh's confirmation today. Same reaction as Trump.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States. President
Cheers!
What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald. For their gracious aid.
I am so sorry to my world. I am so sorry to my world. This is not what we want. There's so much potential.
No, but it's exactly what we want. Okay, shut up. Shut up. Yeah. Island, welcome to the show. I'm drinking Miller High Life. Yeah, leftist tears in a High Life bottle. Jeff, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. And believe me, I've got a fridge filled to the brim with, liberal tears. That would actually, holy crap, that would be a genius, idea for like a conservative brewery. Just like if we wanted to start one, I know that someone's going to listen to this podcast and run with it, and if you do, please give me a cut because, I'm the one who's kind of come up with this idea. I'm sure, Island, I know you're the savvy businessman, so we can, figure something out with that. But yeah, this, that scream never gets old. And, by the way, I found the clip from earlier that I was looking for. It eluded to me. It eluded me, but I found it, so.
We drank beer. She had one beer at the party and had beers with. And having some beers with friends. Or just to meet up and have some beers. Drinking beer, which I gladly do. I like beer.
Answer that.
I like beer. I don't know if you do.
Okay.
Do you like beer, Senator, or not? What do you like to drink?
Next one is
Senator, what do you like to drink?
Judge, have you?
In any event, we drank beer and still do. So whatever. I think you've probably had beers, Senator, and so.
So you're saying there's never been a case where you drank so much that you didn't remember what happened the night before or part of what happened?
You're asking about, yeah.
Oh
blackout.
yeah,
I don't
plenty
know.
of times. Oh wait, she's not.
Could you?
She's not talking to me. But no. In all seriousness, though, folks, this is why people love Kavanaugh. I really do think that this is when, including me, this was really when I fell in love with Kavanaugh, because on a serious note, you realize that even though he went to, law school and has been in the Bush administration and countless, other important, he's still just a regular guy. Much like Trump. Trump and Kavanaugh are both, they're powerful people, but they're both salt of the earth, just average, ordinary, everyday, American, red-blooded, guys. And that's everything that the fucking left absolutely hates and that they've been trying to destroy for, the last 40 years. And, men and women, thank God, there are women out there who, can see through this, sham, too, the Christine Ford sham. Thank God there are enough of us out there left, to say, no, enough with this BS. We're gonna confirm him, and that's exactly what we did. But by the way, I didn't do this on purpose, but now that I'm looking at this, let me move my lower third. You can see Kavanaugh, folks. For those of you listening on the audio podcast, you obviously can't see this, but on my screen right now, where I have paused, you can see, Kavanaugh has like a smirk on his face. And then in the background, you can see like Alyssa Milano back there. And she just has like a destitute look on her face. And that was during the hearing. Imagine how, she's feeling today after this happened. Like I said, liberal tears in a bottle. In all seriousness, though, I did find a clip from Fox News about the confirmation hearing. So, this is a semi-news show, so let's pull that up. The analysis from Fox News, was pretty good here. Dana Perino does the commentary on this, and she worked with Kavanaugh in the Bush administration, and it seems to be a pretty accurate summary of the actual events of what happened. So, anyway, next clip. Clip number 2, roll the tape.
Dana Perino, host of the Daily Briefing here on Fox News. She joins us from New York. All right, Dana, listen, you have more personal connection and networking with the Kavanaughs than most of us do, having worked in Bush 43 White House. How do you think their family must feel after what they've been through to get to this day?
I was thinking about that, possibly completely shattered in terms of exhaustion, relieved, possibly a little euphoria as well, and also maybe quite reflective. I think that one of the things you saw from Brett Kavanaugh when he testified is he talked about his faith. He has a strong faith in the Lord, and that he was relying on that faith in order to help get him through. He also reveres the Constitution, loves the Constitution and the law. And maybe after tonight, I think he's probably already thinking ahead to the cases that will come before.
In public on TV.
Kansas for a rally with a significant campaign promise kept, and also just a unified Republican Party, unlike we have seen in possibly 10 years.
Dana,
Okay, I want to pause it here. Those of you on the audio podcast won't be able to hear this, but there, on the right side of the screen, you can see the Fox News panel here, and then on the left side, you can see these protests. On the left side of the Fox News panel. Let me scroll back here. Okay, yeah. There's one sign that says, "The old white male Republican Senate does not respect women." Such a cop-out. Okay, why? Just because we believe in due process and we believe in actually gathering facts? That's where all this stuff is coming from the left. It's just it's emotional over the facts. There obviously it's a sign, but but if I were there, I would go up and say, okay, what's your evidence? Where is the actual I would challenge her like Andrew Breitbart used to do. Andrew Breitbart, there's a famous video of him back in 2010 or 2011 where one of the at the time it was Occupy Wall Street, but he went up to Occupy Wall Street. They were protesting Glenn Beck at one of the rallies Glenn Beck was holding, and the sign was something akin to Glenn Beck was a racist, and Andrew Breitbart literally went up to the protester and asked him, where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? And the protester, shied away from Breitbart, because he had no evidence. Breitbart was a badass that way, and we need to confront these people more, and thank God we are that way. So Island's hitting on the nail on the head too. The left are like a skin rash rubbed raw. They're overly sensitive to anything and everything. That I also think, though, partially that they're acting too. Island. A large percent of them are generally oversensitive, but I also think that there's a large part of the contingent that also knows. They have to know, some of them, that everything that they're doing is BS. So anyway, let me continue playing this clip of Dana Perino and the analysis on Kavanaugh's confirmation, because I do want to get through this. And, this was a victory, but it's also, I think this is a map of things to come, in both a good way and a bad way. And I'll explain why after. Continuing on, though.
So, a lot of gratitude for the president who first hired him in the Bush 43 White House and put him on the circuit court, but then the president who stuck by him and nominated him and stuck by him, and that is President Trump, who goes now tonight to Kansas for a rally with a significant campaign promise kept, and also just a unified Republican Party, unlike we have seen in possibly 10 years.
Dana, I want to ask you, on a kind of personal level about Brett Kavanaugh, because you did work with him in the Bush 43 White House. And for those of us who've been following him in public on TV, there really have been three Brett Kavanaughs we've seen. First of all, the legal scholar, immensely comfortable discussing judicial decisions, rulings, precedents in his original Judiciary Committee briefing. Then the interview with our colleague Martha McCallum, where he seemed very constrained, very uncomfortable, understandably so, dealing with the charges. And then the kind of Kavanaugh unplugged that we saw in his second Judiciary Committee testimony, when he was very fiery and really took on the Democrats in a very contentious way. Your view, which is the real Brett Kavanaugh?
Well, I think, look, he's a total human, right? He's the full spectrum. He's exceedingly gracious, also an exceeding intellectual. I'll remember one thing, Chris. In 2005, I was a spokesperson for John Roberts. He had just been nominated to replace Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, who, if you'll remember, she resigned, and it was quite a surprise to everyone. But President George W. Bush had a list of possible nominees. John Roberts was the choice, and I remember as a press officer, I was getting so many questions, so many legal questions I couldn't answer. I'll never forget, it was a Friday night about 7:30 p.m. If you've ever waited tables, I felt like I was in the weeds. That means you're just out of control. You have too many requests. You don't know what to do with them. About 7:30 at night on a summer evening, and I went downstairs to the staff secretary's office, and he was still there, as usual. And I knocked on the door, and I said, "I'm sorry to bother you, Brett, but I need some help." And he sat with me for about an hour and 30 minutes and explained to me all of these different cases I was being asked about, one of them being Roe v. Wade and the right to privacy and that connection there, and explaining how this had happened in the Supreme Court over a long period of time. And then you could go out with him at night and have a good time and a laugh. I never saw any bad behavior by Brett Kavanaugh, only an exceedingly gracious person.
And is that the end of the clip? Yeah, it's the end of the clip. And there you have it. Very very gracious, very intelligent, very down to earth. Also very willing to defend his honor and his reputation. Very very level-headed. Very passionate, though, too. Everything that we would want in a Supreme Court justice. And thank God he got in. I mean, it seems like he should have gotten in, right? And entirely, hey, Cheddar, thanks for tuning in. But, there was some... There were, I'm not gonna lie, I did have some doubts that the left was going to out-virtue signal stuff. So, like I said, I'm just, I don't know what to say. I'm thrilled that Kavanaugh's in there. And, we had one hell of a fight getting him in, and we have one hell of a fight, in November and leading up to 2020. This was a great battle in terms of, getting Kavanaugh confirmed and supporting him. But, folks, think here is the negative. Not necessarily of Kavanaugh getting confirmed, but we have witnessed now what the left is willing to do. I mean, we witnessed it in 2016 with Trump, but obviously this, in my opinion, what the left tried to do to Brett Kavanaugh is mind-boggling, quite simply. Christine Ford should have never even been taken seriously as a viable witness based on everything that has come out on her now. Okay, and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I guess there was a boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend of hers, who contacted the Senate Judiciary Committee and basically explained that she had in fact had knowledge of how polygraphs work. Remember, in the beginning of her opening statements, she had said something. One of the the lady who was questioning her had asked, do you have any experience operating polygraphs or manipulating them? No, never. And I guess the boyfriend basically came out and said, no, that's not true. She's actually written papers about that, and then they did some digging and found out, that was true. And they found out multiple other things that basically shot her credibility to shreds. So my point being, and believe me, I'm glad all of this came out, but they should have investigated all of her credibility before granting her a televised hearing. Now, I realize that the televised part was the attorney's idea, as far as we know. But still, it should have never gotten to that level. And, I've got to give the left credit. They ran a hell of a... They ran one hell of a psyop, to try and get people, disillusioned about Kavanaugh. It was a valid, effort, and it failed. And believe me, I'm happy to gloat and celebrate and mock them and drink beer. But I do think that we should take this as a warning sign, because if they're literally willing to basically fabricate shit now about anyone in potential positions of power who are conservative or who have, Christian or, constitutional or libertarian beliefs, what have you, if they're willing to basically fabricate stories like that, about decent people and whatnot, imagine what they're going to try and do with Trump in 2020. They're probably going to, if you thought the Russiagate stuff was a big farce and a fabrication, well, they're probably going to ramp up a psyop that's even, more cockamamie. And believe me, I think we've shown that we can deconstruct, everything and get to the truth. That is what is great about independent media and whatnot. But it's just the fake news that the left likes to create, and now the fake allegations and whatnot in these kind of these kangaroo courts on public opinion. We can beat them, but they're really hard. We can beat them, but they're a distraction from the main goal, which is to make America great again, right? It's like in a video game where you want to go, beat the main boss, and you kind of can in some of these games, but you also have to contend with all of these sub-boss battles sometimes. I don't game as much anymore, but that's the best, analogy I can think of. You don't necessarily have to do the side quests, but, it makes the game a lot harder if you don't. That is what dealing with all of these, kangaroo courts of public opinion are like. And, we're going to have to bring our A game in the future for sure, because if the left is, vicious now, they're going to be extremely vicious in the future, even more so. I think Dan Bongino, who has a terrific podcast, I don't have a clip from his show, but he basically says that we are in a street fight now with the left. Okay, politics is a street fight, and like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, the time for civil discourse and the time for sitting down and having a debate with these people, National Review op-ed style, that's done. That's been done, and that's not by our choice. I'm not saying I like it, but we can't sit down over, coffee or have like a Lincoln Douglas style debate with people who fundamentally see us all as, backwards racists or, neo-Nazis or whatnot. People who, would genuinely like to take us all out. Okay? The left no longer sees us as people who they just disagree with politically. No, they see us as horrible human beings, horrible fundamental human beings. And granted, I'm not saying I'm a saint, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but as anyone who spends any time with me, for any amount of time, can tell you, I consider myself a pretty nice guy for the most part. I'll sit down and have a conversation with anyone about anything, as long as they're wanting to keep it civil. But the hardcore left is not willing to do that anymore. They want to literally destroy us all. I mean, if you need evidence of that, think back to 2 weeks ago. My friend Leo Stratton, who was a citizen journalist in Portland, Oregon, he died in a trucking accident, and yeah, I still have my suspicions that might have been an Antifa hit. And in case you missed that show, go back and listen to it, or it's in the YouTube archive. But regardless, the left was celebrating his death. They didn't know him. They didn't have any evidence to say that Leo was an evil man. And yet, they were literally celebrating the fact that he died tragically in an accident. I didn't even show that much malice towards John McCain when he passed. I disagreed with McCain as a politician, and I don't, necessarily like the stuff that he's done with the military-industrial complex. But I at least did feel some sympathy for his daughter and for his family. I was at least courteous that way. So, civility among the left is dead, so therefore civility in politics is dead. And, just to be clear, I'm not advocating for the right to go and do anything violent either. But I'm just, we should try and remain civil where we can, but every time they get up in our face and shout things at us, we need to get in their face and shout things back. It's, the age of, like I said, the age of civility in politics is unfortunately over. I'd like to return to that stage one day, and I'm hoping that the true liberals out there, the true JFK K-type Democrats who I may disagree with policy-wise, but who I can sit down and have discussions. I hope they'll come back. I hope so. I genuinely do. And if you're out there, please, I'm begging you, kick the radical communist lefties out of your party. But sadly, I might be talking to a demographic that doesn't even exist anymore. It's crazy. It is, crazy. Let's see. Joey McCain's tumor deserves the Medal of Honor. Oh, God. Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty funny. Speaking of savagery and stuff, though, I just have to read this, though. I found this to be pretty hilarious, though, too, folks. I don't know. So I don't know if any of you heard about this on Thursday, but Emily Ratajkowski, or however her name is pronounced, she's a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, and not gonna lie, she's pretty hot, but even so, I guess she she got arrested for at the Kavanaugh protest, which I found hilarious. I thought I had this bookmarked too, but oh well. Okay, let me see if I can pull this article up. I don't want to ad-lib it. The article I found was actually pretty funny, but yeah, long. So anyway, bear with me. So, Island, it's good to have you back in the chat. We've missed you. So are you going to be doing streams again soon? Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. This got even better. Oh, okay. Yeah, this got. Oh, yeah. This is too good not to read on air. Okay. And I usually don't go to CNN here at all, but this is just too good not to. Oh, and I'll read the article, and then I guess there's video here too. All right, from CNN headline news. Okay. Here's the headline. Amy Schumer and Emily Ratajkowski were arrested in Kavanaugh protest. Written by Emanuela Grinberg on CNN. Okay. CNN headline. Comedian Amy Schumer, alleged comedian Amy Schumer, and model actress Emily Ratajkowski were among more than 300 people arrested Thursday in protests over Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Hundreds of people a U.S. Senate building in the nation's capital to challenge Kavanaugh's nomination after 3 women accused him of various forms of sexual misconduct. Schumer and Ratajkowski were among them. Yeah, I don't want photos. I don't want to see photos of Schumer. Sorry. What? Sam, that's sexist. Yeah, I know. Well, it's not sexist. I mean, she's unfunny. Capitol Police said they arrested 302 people during the demonstration. Video from the scene shows the two actresses, in air quotes, being detained after an officer asked them if they wanted to be arrested. Okay, you're joking, right? And here's a tweet from Benny Johnson, who is also hilarious. You're joking, right? Arrested? I watched the cops walk up to you and politely ask if you wanted to be arrested. You and Amy Schumer said yes. Then you both just sat comfortable on the floor until the cops gave you special wristbands and slightly brought you up. No, CNN. I do not want your emails. Fuck off. Sorry, Papa Bad. I can't believe I have to do this, Emrata, but here's the video, and you and Amy Schumer verbally agreeing to be arrested. That's the funny thing about this, too, is there were all these headlines that, so we're saying that they got arrested, but, I mean, she was allowed to literally Instagram her arrest, too. Which, so it was basically a big PR stunt. So... okay. Additional footage shows them waiting to be processed near a wall of officers. Schumer told a CNN producer she was arrested. Ratajkowski said on social media that she was arrested too. Okay, this is the hilarious part of her tweet. Today, I was arrested protesting the Supreme Court nomination of Brett Kavanaugh, a man who has been accused by multiple women of sexual assault. Men who hurt women but can no longer be placed in positions of power. Well, he didn't hurt a woman, Emily. Yeah, I agree with you. Men who hurt women should not be in positions of power. And guess what? They're not. They're absolutely fucking not. Okay, let's see. The two were among crowds of activists who descended on Capitol Hill while lawmakers reviewed the FBI report on the allegations against Kavanaugh. Okay. Yep, there's Emily's tweet. Okay, now, Brian, now you can take your pants off. So, yeah, for those in the on the audio podcast who are wondering what I'm talking about, one of our main moderators here on the chat, Brian, he always says that he wants to take off. He always wants to take his pants off during stream. Well, I mean, yeah. Let's see. Tell me she didn't fall off a cliff. Okay, yeah, back to the article. Protesters gathered at the Hart Senate building atrium after Capitol Police barricaded the front of the Capitol. The Women's March, a liberal organization that originated as a grassroots movement in opposition to President Donald Trump. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so long story short, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, she was arrested pretty much for, or not really arrested, she was escorted politely for, I mean, folks, she wasn't even arrested. Who am I kidding? This was a PR stunt. And, I think, like, the charge was he wasn't wearing a bra or anything, which, I'm okay with that. Sam, what? Yeah, that's right. You heard me. I'm not gonna lie. She, I usually like things that are blonde and pretty, but Emily Ratajkowski only hits the hot, crazy ratio perfectly. Amy Schumer, on the other hand, meh, not really. Okay, let's see. Okay, now there's video of this arrest going on. So let's see let's play this on YouTube. Okay, hopefully I don't get hopefully this doesn't cancel my stream. All right, this is from NBC News. Amy Schumer, Emily Ratajkowski arrested at the Brett Kavanaugh protest. Cut number 4, go.
With the right to remain silent, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Yeah, skip ad.
A vote for Kavanaugh is a vote saying women don't matter. Yes. Let's stay together. Let's fight. Let's keep showing up.
Okay, so for those of you guys listening on the audio podcast, basically this arrest that they're claiming is basically just the cops escorting them out in a line without handcuffs, and, you know, like, these protesters are doing like I think they're doing a white power symbol, or gesture. They're doing, yeah. They're literally. Oh my God! They're doing the white powers. Victory symbol or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. That's not being arrested, okay? I've never been, I've never been in trouble with the cops, but I certainly know that being arrested is not being politely escorted. We have people who tune into this show who can tell you what, being arrested is actually like. Just saying. Okay, and that was the end of the clip. Yeah, so like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if that was an arrest, then, boy, the cops have really gotten soft if that was considered an arrest. So, when I first heard the Emily Ratajkowski guy, I at least wanted to see her like in handcuffs or something, right? I mean, yeah. All right, yeah. Anywho, yeah, and that also made news for some reason. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think overall, like I said, I'm ecstatic that this happened. I think Kavanaugh is going to be an excellent Supreme Court justice. At least, I don't know for sure, but I have pretty good doubts. I have pretty good feelings that he's going to be a good justice, and I doubt he's definitely going to remember this incident. This was his baptism by fire moment, and this was the moment when he got red-pilled, and I think he's definitely going to be a fair judge. That is something that the left is also freaking out about. They're saying, oh, he doesn't have the temperament to be a good Supreme Court justice because he flipped out on, the Senate members who were accusing him of stuff. Well, how would you guys, and to them I would ask, well, how would you guys, react if you were being accused of something you didn't do? So, again, Justice Kavanaugh, this is to you, my friend, and I'm glad to be drinking on the show in your honor, folks. In his honor. And like I said, I usually don't do it, but I usually don't drink on air. But I'm willing to make more of an exception tonight. Hell, I'm going to have one beer for this podcast and then one for the American Watchmen Roundtable. So, yeah, let's see. Tasty liberal tears. There's also a meme I love of this where it's Lindsey Graham and Brett Kavanaugh. They're both saying how much they like beers. Oh, speaking of, I just want to play this clip because I can't believe I'm going to say this. But let's also give a toast specifically to Lindsey Graham, who I never would have thought would be the MVP, since he was a big neocon and kind of like a McCain, subservient. But I honestly do think that after McCain died, like a whatever demon was possessing Lindsey Graham left his body, because this, I played it for you a few weeks ago, but again, it's just too glorious and absolutely spectacular. Let's just play this little highlight from the confirmation hearing last week. This was one of the most badass things I've seen in a long time.
Are you aware that at 9:23 on the night of July the 9th, the day you were nominated to the Supreme Court by President Trump, Senator Schumer said, 23 minutes after your nomination, "I will oppose Judge Kavanaugh's nomination with everything I have. I have a bipartisan, and I hope a bipartisan majority will do the same. The stakes are simply too high for anything less." Well, if you weren't aware of it, you are now. Did you meet with Senator Dianne Feinstein on August 20th?
I did meet with Senator Feinstein.
Did you know that her staff had already recommended a lawyer to Dr. Ford?
I did not know that.
Did you know that her and her staff had this allegations for over 20 days?
I did not know that at the time.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it, because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process. You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend. Do you consider this a job interview?
The advice and consent role is like a job interview.
Consider that you've been through a job interview.
I've been through a process of advice and consent under the Constitution.
Would you say you've been through hell?
I've been through hell and then some.
This is not a job interview.
Yeah.
This is hell. This is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap. Your high school yearbook. You have interacted with professional women all your life, not one accusation. You're supposed to be Bill Cosby
This is
when
just
you're a
too
junior
fucking
and
awesome.
senior in high school. And all of a sudden you got over it. It's been my understanding that if you drug women and rape them for 2 years in high school, you probably don't stop. Here's my understanding. If you lived a good life, people would recognize it, like the American Bar Association has the gold standard. His integrity is absolutely unquestioned. He is the very circumspect in his personal conduct, harbors no vices or prejudices. He's entirely ethical, is a really decent person. He is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person. The ABA. The one thing I can tell you, you should be proud of. Ashley, you should be proud of this. That you raised a daughter who had the good character to pray for Dr. Ford. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well, and I intend to vote for you, and I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
Lindsey Graham deserves a fucking Emmy for that. I mean, that monologue from Lindsey Graham right there, that was something out of like a courtroom drama movie or something. But way better because it's actual life. And for those of you who were listening on the audio podcast, if you haven't seen that clip, go on YouTube and watch it. I guarantee you it's worth it. And I was also fist pumping all throughout that thing just because it's so awesome. Like I said, Lindsey Graham, I'm shocked that he's the MVP, but he is. And he got the Republicans in line. Even Jeff Flake, voted for Kavanaugh after everyone else was saying he wouldn't. So, there you have it, folks. Lindsey Graham is the MVP. Kavanaugh's in the Supreme Court. I'm drinking beer. I'm about ready to finish your show and then go to another show where we celebrate Kavanaugh's for even more. So, folks, I want to thank you for tuning into the show tonight. Great show. Fantastic. Couldn't be more thrilled with today's events and with this show. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks to Island for popping in. I've missed you. We need to DM and maybe plan like a collaboration or something. Glad to have you back in the room. Gabe, Brian, everyone else who popped in to the chat, and thanks to all of the supporters on both Patreon and Anchor Payments too. Folks, from all of us here at NGC Studios, have a good night. God bless. God save this great nation. And please, in honor of Justice Kavanaugh, have a beer, folks. You deserve it. Thank you. Good night. And God bless. And God bless America.